Hey you guys, we're back in the kitchen today, and on the menu we have shrimp and grits. Everybody always talk about how they want to make shrimp and grits and how fancy it is and everything. Well, Uncle Drew is going to show you how quick and simple it is to get shrimp and grits on that table for brunch and mimosas, all right? Come on, you guys. So you can check the description box below for a detailed list of the ingredients that we are using today. So we're going to start off with 6 cups of water to our pot and add about a tablespoon of bouillon powder to that 6 cups of water, and we're going to get it up to a boil. Okay, and the reason why we use 6 cups of water was because of the serving size of the grits that we were using. So we use 6 cups of water, we're going to use 1.5 cups of grits. I didn't use the quick grits. I actually used the old-fashioned grits, so they will take about 15 to 20 minutes to actually cook through. Okay, so now we are going to move over to our cast iron pot to make our bacon. Now, you don't have to use a cast iron pot if you don't. I just enjoy using one because I love how crispy it makes the bacon that'll go on top of our shrimp and grits. You'll want to make sure that the grease that you produce from creating the bacon, hang on to it. Do not drain that grease off. We are actually going to use that grease to fry our shrimp in to give it another layer of flavor. So right now you'll see us just going ahead and adding the bacon in the pot, trying to get as many in there as we can. It doesn't matter the quality of bacon you're using, simply because you're going to crunch this bacon up anyway. So we're adding our grits in 3 stages. The only reason why I broke it down into 3 stages is because I couldn't find my 1 cup of measuring cup. So I broke it down into 3 half cups scoops, making sure that I stirred in between adding each one so that they didn't clump up on me. One thing about grits is if you don't keep them moving and stir them periodically, they will clump up. They will turn into one solid mass on you. So you want to make sure that you're continuously stirring them throughout the process to keep them smooth and creamy. We now have about 5 minutes left on the grits. I've turned the heat off, and now I'm going to go ahead and add my 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Give it a really good stir. In the same process, I'm going to go ahead and add my Cajun seasoning to it, which is the Tony's. I love Tony seasoning. Just have that right amount of Cajun kick that just set the grits on fire. I love Tony's. Go ahead and add that in. And then at this point, you just want to make sure that you are mixing it very well, giving it a really good mix, making sure all that flavor and seasoning is being incorporated very good. Look at those. Look how creamy those grits are. Oh my gosh. We'll add our black pepper in. Unfortunately, I did not have my black pepper that was already ground up, so I did have to sit there and give it quite a few cranks. Wrist was a little hurting, but it's all right. We got our pepper added in, and get that stirred in really well. And then we're gonna go ahead and add our cheese. I went with a aged white cheddar. It was nothing fancy. If you do shop at Kroger's, which is our local market, which I love, it was the Kroger brand aged white cheddar squares. It wasn't even shredded. I ended up just breaking it up and putting it in my little dish to add in there. So you'll see it was about, I added about 2 squares of the cheese in it. Now we're coming back to our pot of bacon grease that after we taken all of our bacon out, got those drained and chopped and off to the side, we're going to add about 3 tablespoons of butter to the bacon grease and let that melt down. Now we are going to be cooking our shrimp in this bacon butter goodness that just adds so much flavor to the dish, that just adds so many levels of just greatness like you just couldn't imagine. So we're going to let that melt down, and then we're going to go ahead and start adding our shrimp into this. Now you want to be careful and make sure that you are not overcrowding your cast iron, because that will alter the temperature of the pot. So you want to make sure that you're putting just the right amount in there that is keeping the heat even, that's keeping the heat balanced. If you do notice that it stops sizzling as much, then you might have to adjust your heat accordingly. And then here comes the goodness. Now this is the Slap Your Mama seasoning that we decided to use, Cajun seasoning. Now I will warn you, Slap Your Mama does bring a nice amount of heat. So that's why I chose to use Slap Your Mama's directly on the shrimp and not in the grits. I didn't want the entire dish to be too spicy. So I used Slap Your Mama's on the shrimp and Tony's Cajun season to season the grits. We'll add our parsley on top of there. I like for the parsley to get cooked in, and I like to add parsley on top of it. Just look at that. That just looks so good. One thing you want to make sure is that you do not overcook your shrimp. It does not take long for shrimp to cook. You're talking about roughly 2 minutes on each side. So you do want to make sure that you're keeping an eye on them and making sure that you don't overcook them. And I like to season both sides of mine, so after we gave them a flip, then I followed up with that Slap Your Mama season again, just to give them another kick. After adding a little bit more of fresh parsley and making sure that everything was cooked through, those shrimps are done. Look how good those shrimps look. Flavorful. You couldn't imagine the flavor that they had. And look at that. After plating, throwing everything in a bowl, you have your shrimp and grits that is ready for that brunch of mimosas. Enjoy, you guys.